today we're going to be reviewing some topics that I've presented before and then working with practice. And with the focus on either coping with either anxious or depressed feelings, or if you're feeling anxious, that's often what I call a hyperarousal in the nervous system, or feeling depressed, low energy, that's more a hypoarousal in the nervous system. So let me go over a little bit of an overview. What we're going to do is I'm going to guide you through a practice in a little bit here with being able to learn to pause, to be able to notice your body felt experience, to be able to notice any emotions or thoughts. And then I'm going to make a few suggestions of how you regulate that nervous system arousal through a body-oriented resource. And again, I'm not going to be able to go through all of them, so I'm going to make a few suggestions of what you might use in the moment. And I know that many of you have been on a lot of these calls for weeks, so even going back to something that you know that works for you. And then we're going to, after the body or the nervous system is more regulated, then we're going to be able to go back to ask ourselves, what do we need right now? So I really do believe that if we can regulate our emotions through tools and resources that target the nervous system, I think it's more easy then for us to access what we need or to assert ourselves. So let's go ahead and I'm going to walk you through a practice. And then we might even have some time at the end for a couple questions. So I'd like you to just get as comfortable as you can wherever you're sitting. And if you can have your feet on the ground, to just feel some contact with the floor and imagine that contact with the earth. And then just take 3 or 4 cleansing breaths, just to help you arrive here more fully. Just to be able to, whatever you just came from at work or home, just being able to arrive here as you connect to your breath. You're able to connect more to your body felt sense and to the present. And then as you're settling a little bit, I'm actually going to ask you to bring up something that is maybe just something recent and something not too big. Nothing that is traumatizing or huge issue, but just either to bring up either an upset or something you're worried about, or it could be even something you're feeling down about. And again, do not pick your most upsetting issue or event. And then what I'd like you to just notice how just even thinking about it, and we're not going to do a lot of thinking about it. I don't want you to go into the story of what all happened. but just like a labeling, okay, this event or this interaction or this issue. And then notice, I want you to come back into your body and notice your physical sensations. So for example, if you're experiencing something that makes you anxious or reactive or upset, there may be a tension or a tightening in the body. Your heart rate may go up. Your breathing get more shallow. So that might be that more hyper-aroused experience. Or if you're focusing on something that maybe makes you feel a little bit down, you might notice a different experience in the body. For example, you might notice a little collapse in your chest or in your spine, or a feeling of a weight on your shoulders, or a dipping down of the head. So again, without going into the story of the experience, just make note of your physical sensations. You can even label them tightness, tension, collapse, low energy. So you're just observing what's happening in your body. And then I'd like you to just, again, we're just going to label, as you have this experience in the body, just notice like the emotional state that might be there. Is there fear? Is there anxiety? Is there anger? Or is there sadness? Or longing? So again, we're just going to note it. We're not going to go into the story. So you can just label that. And then also notice if there's any strong thoughts or beliefs that are here. Again, in relation to the feeling, the body felt sense, or the actual upset. And especially notice if you're tending to judge yourself or judge another. And what I'd like you to do, if there's any thoughts that are like that, is to wrap those thoughts up and just put them aside for now. The judgment will not help you at this moment. So just be able to say, judgment, I'm going to put you aside. And then I would like to have you come back to that body felt sense, staying in your body in the present. And I'm going to offer you a few things that you can try right now to see if you can regulate the nervous system. And then we'll work our way back up from the body to see how that might regulate, both your emotions and your thoughts. So staying back with the body felt sense that's related to whatever the upset, the issue was, the interaction. If you have noticed, I'm going to stay with one end and then the other. So if you feel, and there's no right or wrong, don't worry so much if you can't get it right, because some of these tools can help with either state. But if you are noticing a feeling of more tension in the body, tightness, racing heart rate. What I'd like you to do, let's try a few things to regulate that. And what I'm also going to do, because I actually think I'm going to start with the hypoarousal. So if you are noticing there is a more of a collapse in the body, a sinking of the head, we'll start there. If that's not your experience, I will get to the tension in a moment. So if you're noticing your body started to collapse, like the air went out of the balloon, what I want you to do first, and everybody should do this, is I want you to slowly align the spine so that the spine is upright in a place of dignity and openness, that the natural curves are in the body, and that the head is above the heart, and the heart is aligned with the belly. The head is upright, looking forward. And also make sure your feet are touching the floor. If it's helpful to feel a little bit more sense of grounding, push your feet into the floor. So everyone start there and just notice, again, staying in the body felt sense, how the body starts to regulate with its vertical alignment and its sense of grounding. And then if you had experienced a sense of tension or tightness in the body, a sense of increased heart rate, let's work with that now. So if there's a lot of tension in the body, keeping that upright aligned position, but moving as you need to, just allow the body to move a little bit. It may be stretching in the neck, from side to side. And also tucking the chin and bringing the head up. It may be doing some shoulder rolls, forward and back. It may be releasing some of that tension by just, pushing down with your hands or forearms into the armrests, or pushing down with your feet into the floor. And then bringing your awareness to your breathing. And if you can take back to some slower, deeper breaths, so that the exhalation is a little longer than the inhalation. And again, just noticing if there's anything I'm suggesting that is not feeling right for your body, then don't do it. And just come back to what is feeling good. That either helps to give you more of a calmness in the body, but also having an appropriate amount of energy. And then the last thing I'm going to have you do, and then I'm going to lead you through one more set of inquiry, is I'd like you to, if it feels comfortable to you, you can also put your hand, you can put one hand on your belly, one hand on your chest. You could put both hands on your belly, both hands on your heart center, or just one. So play around with that a little bit and notice the contact your hands are making with your body. Maybe noticing the texture that they feel underneath the hands, texture of your clothing. If it's warm or cool. And noticing how it feels to have that sense of centering and comfort and support. And continuing to breathe. And then the last piece we're going to do, so noticing, hopefully you are either in a calmer, more grounded place, or you're feeling a little bit more sense of energy, uprightness, confidence. So in the state you're in right now, I'd like you to just very gently go back to the original issue or upset or interaction. And I want you to ask yourself 2 questions and just see if any answers come. So the first question is, what am I needing right now? What am I needing right now? And it may be in relation to the issue. So dropping into your heart center, what do I need right now? It may be more self-care. It may be taking a break. And the second question I'd like you to ask, again, don't worry if you don't have an answer now. You can just stay with this new body felt sense, is, do I have a request of myself or someone else right now? So perhaps you need to ask somebody for something or express something. So just seeing if anything comes, again, from your heart center of a request of yourself or someone else. So I'm just going to review the steps again, and then I'm just going to open it up. I have just a couple minutes for any questions or comments. So again, when something is upsetting, when you feel overwhelmed, when an interaction was tough, it's really helpful to pause. Pause, take a break, not continue the interaction or fueling the story that is upsetting you. You can then notice the physical body sensations. That brings you into the present. And then there's something you can do about that. And we often can notice when we have physical sensations, they're also related. There's maybe an emotion that's there. There's certain thoughts that, again, are related not to the story, but to the felt experience. And especially if you're noticing any self-judgment or judgment of others, seeing if that moment that you can put that aside. And then you can use a physical, body-oriented resource to help you regulate your nervous system, to help you to interrupt that overwhelm and those negative thoughts, like some of the ones we tried today or you've been hearing in other sessions. And then once you feel that you're more in a more optimum arousal zone, a more regulated state, then you can go back to your thinking mind and ask yourself, what am I needing right now? Do I have a request of myself or someone else? So I'm just going to go ahead and unmute the audience. If there's any questions or comments, I have just a couple minutes. And if there is, if anybody wants to, you can go ahead and unmute yourself. Though it says you're unmuted, but and if not, I'll just leave you with the practice for today. I appreciate you joining me, and I'll see some of you next week. So again, this is Michelle Baumgartner with the Institute for Health and Healing. Hoping that was helpful. Have a good rest of the day.